what can we say to couples who are in this crazy tornado of the newborn era?
I'm giving and giving and giving, and none of it's just like being pushed to the side.
Husband, wife, and a tiny human.
It was the most fun I never want to have again.
We're not perfect people.
By any means.
But by trusting in God, we learned what it takes to build a friendship,
A relationship.
and marriage that has stood the test of time.
With a keeping it real style, we're going to talk to you about everything.
Everything
That we've been through.
are going through.
And have overcome. All by learning how to lean on God and each other.
In order to help you learn how to love by faith.
Congratulations, Kyle. We finally made it past the summer season.
Let's go. School is back.
School is upon us. I almost felt like my eyes were about to water up as I said that sentence.
It's tough on you, man. You moms and dads who stay around the house all the time.
The summer season itself. Because even if you worked and you're away from home, what are you going to do with the kids?
Right.
Like, it's summer vacation is stressful for a lot of people.
Yeah. Except for the teacher.
Except for the teachers.
I feel like the teacher's just like, woo, I'm on vacation for 3 months.
Right.
Must be nice.
Well, they deserve it.
But they have their kids too.
They deserve it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not exempt from having kids.
Yeah. It's funny you talk about kids. It's funny we talk about kids. We're in this season, this series of talking about children and how it affects your relationship. And we just want to say thank you guys for watching and for tuning in. If you guys are parents or if you're not parents, if you're trying to be parents, we really want to make sure that this series is something that focuses less on the actual children themselves and more on how you guys can stay connected and grow in the midst of the children. And last week we talked about pregnancy, right? We had a lot of conversation about that. There was a lot of stories that we missed and we didn't cover. We could go in any direction.
Yeah.
Sob stories, delightful stories, but I'm sure the gist of it, I think the message that we were trying to convey is pregnancy is random, sporadic, chaotic. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what to expect. Buckle up, hold hands. It'll be done in 9 months.
And each person in the couple reacts differently.
Yeah. But then after that season comes the glorious newborn stage. And that's what we're going to talk about this week in this topic.
The glorious newborn stage.
It's so... How do you describe newborn stage?
You used to describe it as the 4th trimester.
Yes, it is the 4th trimester. But it's like I want to say that it's a terrible season. But the babies are so cute and it makes up for the terrible season.
Right. It's like those little puppy dog eyes just looking at you and half open and falling asleep out of nowhere.
And you're just like, I can't be mad at you right now. Even though all this stuff just happened and I am at my end and I am about to like explode and implode and fall apart and melt away all at the same time.
Man, I remember when we first had William, it was like, what do I do? Not like, what do I do? But like, you're basically on duty 24 hours a day.
Oh.
I'm just dude on the side watching baseball, and I'm trying to like comfort you and help him, but all he wants is you, and all you want is him. And so it's just like, I'm just gonna go over here and do nothing.
This is such a great way to open up this conversation because yes, the family dynamics have officially changed.
Right.
Now it's not just husband and wife, partner. It is now husband, wife, and a tiny human.
And a tiny baby.
A tiny human that you have no idea what to do. And there has been studies that said a lot of couples feel the most stressed out when they're leaving the hospital for the first time with that new baby in that car seat.
Oh, really?
Because they're like, you're just gonna tell us to go home and do what?
As the doctors are just waving.
You know, just bye-bye, have fun, enjoy your life, make sure they don't die, okay?
Right.
And it's like, what?
What do I do now?
What do I do now? Right. And, you know, if you haven't gone through this before, you really don't know what to do. You're just kind of waiting on the baby. And like you said, Kyle, I can see how dads wouldn't know what to do. Is there a lot to do? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Clean the house. You can cook.
Right.
You're basically taking on the role of what, you know, your spouse did before your spouse was unable to do these things.
I mean, in a way. It could be, you know,
way.
Every relationship's different. For us, it was taking on what you were doing, which is you like to cook. You usually do the meals. You like to clean. You don't like to clean, but you usually head up the cleaning.
Yeah.
And so I had to do all that and match your standard.
Oh.
And that's always a challenge.
But then my standard is completely lowered because, let me see how I can explain this. For a woman who just had a child,
right,
her body is torn apart. Literally.
Just crazy, yeah.
So she is trying to heal. But then her hormones are now switching out of the pregnancy and into the postpartum.
Right.
So that is a terrible mess as well. Okay. If you're a mom and you're nursing, you got to consider that as well. Like that's a whole nother ball game. And that is a whole nother conversation that we could have women one-on-one, because a lot goes into breastfeeding,
right,
not breastfeeding, whatever. And then you have, I'm tired and I want help, but I'm not getting the help that is helping me. Because like you said, it's not either reaching the standards, or it's not enough, or it's you're doing it your way to make you feel better about how you're helping, but you're not really helping me.
Yeah.
You know, and you're so exhausted and you're so happy at the same time.
It's a little bundle of joy.
It's a little bundle, right? And so it's just so crazy where all of it, how it all just meshes together. It's a big fog. And then you have people trying to come in, and then you know, can I see the baby? Can I hold the baby? Or if you're really blessed, you'll have people to come in and say, let me clean for you. Let me cook for you. Let me help you, you know, let me help, like, let me be with the dad and let me be with you guys. Like if you have that support team, like you're totally blessed. And then you have the other opposite end where, Kyle, for you, when we had our first newborn, you had to go to work immediately. Like you went to work maybe after 2 weeks.
Right. It was quick.
So then you had to, you left, you know, you had to go back and like, okay, life goes on, just like the doctors.
Show must go on. Yep.
You know, you had to keep going. And then we had to figure that out.
Yep.
What can we say to couples who are in this crazy tornado of the newborn era?
So while you were describing about getting kicked out on your own by the doctors and figuring it out and the whole ball of yarn that is life when you first come home with a newborn, I was thinking about like how when we're in premarital and we're planning what our life is going to be, we think about expectations.
Yeah.
And we think about roles and how you could try and make a blueprint for what that's going to look like with a kid.
Yeah.
And how you can write all these cutesy things like, oh, dad will do this and mom will do that. And dad will be up in the middle of the night to help, and mom will take care of it during the day. And anything could happen when you have a baby, right?
Yeah.
And so even though you're thinking that ain't gonna happen.
No.
I remember thinking I'll be able to help in the middle of the night. Well, guess what? Kyle's a zombie in the middle of the night.
I was going to say this.
Kyle cannot wake up in the middle of the night.
I was going to totally talk about this as soon as you were done. So, yes, I want to say that, yes, Kyle, we thought maybe you can do the middle of the night stuff so that we can do it together.
Right.
So as women, you know, if you're nursing, no matter what, you have to feed the baby every 2 hours at this point as a newborn. And so because I was nursing, all of it fell on me, right? Can you pump? Sure, but milk's still going to come. So either I'm going to wake up and pump or I'm going to wake up and nurse. Either way, I have to be up, right?
Right.
We thought maybe Kyle could do the other stuff. You could change the diaper. You can burp
Get the baby ready, right?
You know, you could do that while I'm preparing myself to nurse and feed the baby, you know, because I have to do a lot of stuff to prepare for that. And so we thought this would be great because now we're both waking up together. You know, if anything, Kyle could just like rub my shoulders or like lean on me, like, so that because I'm exhausted, you know, maybe he could support in some way to help me get through those hours of the night.
Right.
However, something that we have to consider, women, is that our energy is different from your man's energy, right? And so if someone can sleep for 6 hours and pop up like a daisy, doesn't know, it probably means that the sleep time and the sleep quality is a little more different than someone who can sleep for 10 hours and is a light sleeper and wakes up all the time.
Right.
You know, so how we are wired individually goes into play when it comes to having these expectations for caring for a new child. And I didn't think about that. I didn't consider that. And so I would tell Kyle, like, Kyle, wake up. You have to wake up. This dude would literally, can I say this? I'm going to say it. He would literally wake up. He would turn around. He would see what's going on.
No, it's not just wake up. I would snap up out of bed.
He would snap up out of bed.
Stand up.
Shut up. Look around. Turn around. Literally turn in a circle. Sit back on the bed. Go back to bed. All while the baby's crying. All while I'm sitting up and I'm like just watching him. And I'm just like, what is he doing? And then he would knock like out.
Because I would wake up, right? Baby's crying. I'm like, stand up. Figure out what's going on. Do I need to take action?
Right.
Wait, the baby is in her arms. All right, everything's cool.
He would fall back to sleep. And so this would happen in the newborn stage. And so as a wife, now I'm starting to get upset because you said you were going to help, but you're not meeting that expectation.
Okay.
You know, so it goes back to that theme of help, expectation, helpless.
What was I to help with? You had the baby in your hands. Like, what?
So it got to the
point. Do?
Here's what happened. It got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I will take care of the nighttime season when they're younger. And Kyle can take care of the nighttime season when they're older. So now when Jubilee's 3 years old and she wakes up and she's like, I was hot, I changed my pajamas, and it's like 2:30 in the morning and she's busting through our door. Guess who's turning around with her covers while somebody goes and handles that? Because I paid my dues. And I'm just like, I understand. Like, it got to a point where I was just like, you know what? I can't ask him to do this because he physically can't. And I'm okay with that. I'm not going to give him something and give him a standard that he cannot meet.
Do you know what? And hearing this story and hearing it back, I was there. I popped up out of bed, but there was nothing to do.
You had to get ready to change the baby's diaper. You had to get ready to burp the baby. You had to wash a bottle or two. If there was a spit cloth that I needed, you needed to provide for that.
I did that. I did.
In the morning times, maybe.
I had all that. I had the pile of washcloths ready to go right next to the burp cloths.
Yes.
Reload that diaper. Remember we used to have the little diaper thing for the middle of the night, the little kit?
The little Velcro.
Yeah. Oh. It just brought back
things
nightmares.
We do.
I would reload that all the time. Just do little stuff.
Little stuff. When you weren't tired.
Right, to prepare, to help you be ready in the trenches.
In one of the 3 night sessions.
No. You're underselling what I did here.
Okay.
I helped you be prepared.
Thank you.
By having the whole thing.
I appreciate your help.
Go away, you're patronizing.
Hello couples, Selina here. We know that relationships can be tough, but they don't have to be. Kyle and I created a free resource just for you called Rate Your Relationship, and it is the perfect tool for Christian couples who want to strengthen their bond and take their love to the next level. Rate Your Relationship is a great tool that helps you better understand what areas you and your partner should focus on to make your relationship more balanced. Kyle and I have selected the top 8 love life categories that are vital to any couple, and you'll use the handout to basically rate them between 1 and 10. But not only are you receiving this handout for free, once you download the Rate Your Relationship resource, you'll get email access to us to provide you with godly advice and wisdom that you can begin to apply to your specific relationship needs. So, whether you're struggling with communication, intimacy, or trust, the Rate Your Relationship resource has got you covered. So, what are you waiting for? Download the Rate Your Relationship resource today and start building a stronger, healthier, and happier relationship with your partner. You can find the link to download in the description, and let's get back to the show.
At the end, not at the end, after like a month of realizing, all right, I'm not getting up in the middle of the night. What I did do was when it was like 4:00 in the morning and baby was up,
yes,
and you were whooped, or like 3:30.
We figured out what we could do.
We got to right. I would take.
You would take over.
Take over,
yes,
and just take one of the bottles, warm it up, boom.
Yes,
I was on kid duty for the early. I think we came up with hours like.
Yeah, we did shifts.
Like bedtime to 2 was you, and after 2 was me.
Yeah.
And then I would take care of the kids.
And then with Solomon, when Solomon was born, so with every child you figure out what works and what doesn't for you and your partner, and you're just like, okay, this time around we're gonna do this, And so with Solomon, that was our second child. He just had a lot of gas.
A lot of gas, yeah.
So that was really bad in the middle of the night. He would wake up just completely screaming. There was no way to stop him from crying. He was just constantly crying, and it was really, really bad. And so what happened was I decided I'm going to go to sleep at like 6 p.m. And that way, when I wake up at 2 a.m., I'm ready to deal with this thing that's going to happen. And so, yeah, we took shifts. So Kyle would then take care of the kids from 6 to, whatever time they went to bed. And then I would sleep, and then I would wake up and I would do the whole nighttime shift. And then again, you would wake up at 6 a.m. and do what you had to do. And so that kind of worked for a while. And, when Jubilee was a baby, she was colicky. She was colic for 6 weeks. And so we had to figure out, okay, what can we do in this time together to make this work so that one of us is not overstressed or overburdened. And so we would take shifts, okay, I'll rock her this way for 10 minutes and you burp her this way for that minute. And, because you really don't know what's happening to this human. You don't know how to fix it. Yeah. You basically just try everything and see what will work. And every child is different and every need is different. And I know that when you did step in, even if we didn't know what we were doing, and even if we didn't know how it was going to go, the fact that you stayed in the trenches with me and was like, okay, let's try this. Okay, let's do this. And you didn't just like mentally check out, or you just didn't assume that I was going to figure it out because I am the mom and the baby only wants me. That made me appreciate you.
So there it is, guys. Be there. Be in there. Just maybe not being awake like I wanted to be, but being there to help figure it out.
Knowing what you can do to help.
Right.
And then never leaving.
Trips to CVS at 2 a.m.
Yes. Yes. We need more gripe water. We need Vaseline. We need some essential oils. Yes. All of those things. Specifically for relationships, specifically for the couples. For me, I can only speak for me as a mom, but when I was in that newborn phase, I was tired. I was exhausted. I was mentally drained. I felt like a cow. I felt like a cow because people would come over and they're not checking on me. They're checking on the baby. They want to see the baby. They want to let me hold the baby. Nobody's checking on me. I literally felt like, and then you have the gruesome questions of, oh, are you going to have more? And it's like, I'm going to punch you. They're 2 weeks old. Like, calm down, but then I started this. I think during this postpartum season was when I started to feel less of myself. And that included less pretty, less of myself, just less. I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. There was no sign of a break, really. And if I did take a break, I felt guilty for taking a break, especially because I'm nursing. Like, I am the supply, I am the refrigerator. And it was such a weird tug of war with my emotions, because I felt such a obligation to be present, but I couldn't stay present and be well. I had to get out and I had to get checked out, and I needed to sleep. I needed rest. I needed friends. I remember there was with Solomon, because the crying was so bad in the middle of the night, I was just at my ends. I had really bad depression, postpartum depression, and I just called a bunch of friends up and I was like, I need to see you guys at least once a month. I need to get away. I need to do something. And you let me do that.
Yeah.
But then where do the dates come in? You kept telling me, wow, you look great. You look beautiful. You're glowing. And I couldn't hear it.
Okay.
I didn't see it. I couldn't hear it. And it was really hard for me to get back to liking myself again, to get to that place where you see, like I see what you see, and then we can connect from there. I always felt a really big disconnect from you, not because of what you were doing, but because of what I was feeling from myself, because my body was going through so many changes at once.
I mean, it sounds like you not lost yourself, but there was a new person there that you had to figure out who she was.
That is the lesson.
And what she was about.
That is the lesson, is that every time a woman becomes a mother, this happens with every child. Every time you become a mother, and then you become a mother, and then you become a mother, for however many kids you have, you are a completely different person.
Changes.
Because, women go through so much after a baby. All those nutrients are gone. All of that feeding is gone. Your hair loss. Remember with William, after his 6-week checkup, I had Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
And my entire left side of my face was paralyzed. So that really did a dent to my self-esteem and my self-worth. And, and you're trying to be all that you can, and you're trying to help me, and you're trying to, pour into me. And I just wasn't hearing it, because I'm like, how can you say that? I don't feel that. I don't see it. I don't hear it. I don't feel it.
Yeah.
Your words are empty to me. And so that's really, I mean, and it wasn't even something that you did.
No, it was, I remember that being really challenging. Like, bro, you're not even like, I'm giving and giving and giving, and none of it's just like being pushed to the side. Like,
so what can husbands do for wives when wives are feeling like this? Because it's not like we choose to feel this way. It's just, we're feeling it.
One of the things I think I learned in that was toughness. It made me tougher, right? It helped me be more persistent with you, help me get creative on how to connect with you, even though you keep like pushing these to the side. I was like, forget that. I know somewhere in there's a heart that appreciates me.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to keep on trying different routes.
Yeah.
So it was different gifts and foot rubs and whatever mom things I can do, chocolates. And, I hear we're talking in the middle of the day while I'm back at work, and it's like, we got an audible to me picking up dinner on the way home. Easy. But like, just basically being available just to say, hey, what do you need? And do it. Like, whatever she says, do it. Because, within reason, but do it to just make your plate lighter, because you got so much going on, right?
Yeah.
Get home and do the extra load of, like, it's little stuff, but it makes a lot of impact for your life at that point, when those little ones are just clinging to mom like that.
The other thing I want to ask you, Kyle, for a man's point of view, is if you are going out of your way to go and do the little stuff for the mom, right?
Yeah.
Because the mom is losing herself to the child. What do you do to not lose yourself in this season? What does the man do in this season to not lose themselves? Because they're pouring, and nobody's really pouring into you now.
So this part of me, for this part of my experience with having kids, was a little easier on me.
Okay.
Because I knew what I was into, right? I knew what my things were, right? I've always been a big sports fan.
Okay.
So it was, in all these seasons, easy to just anchor into my teams.
Okay.
and anchor into what's going on there. So I had a entertainment outlet that was healthy and great.
Okay.
Maybe not healthy because my teams are always pretty bad.
Go Cleveland. Okay. I'll say it. I'm not ashamed.
So that, and then I had, I had a busy work life at that time too.
Yeah.
So I had 10, 12 hours a day of distraction there to stay busy. And when I was home, I was excited to be a dad, right? So I was looking forward to having this baby crying and having to help you and figure all this stuff out like all my life, right?
Right.
And so it was just it's I've heard it said about other things, but it was the most fun I never want to have again.
Yes.
Like, it was so much fun. I know it was hard on you, right? But it was so fun to hold those little babies and to see them get their teeth and to just watch them figure out how to hold a ball and figure out how to like play with blocks. And so I just anchored into that, like that joy that came out of the newness of a new human. And that really helped me be okay with all of how hard it was.
So this is what I'm hearing. The mom is pouring into the baby. And as the mom is pouring into the baby, the husband pours into the mom.
Right.
And as the husband is pouring into the mom, the baby pours into the husband with all the joy that the baby is being cute and bubbly and so excited to see dad when dad comes home.
Yeah.
And so it's just like this family cycle that God is just kind of shining over. I mean, obviously you're going to have God, you're going to have your avenues. But I will be honest, I wasn't waking up every morning to pray and do my devotional during that newborn time because you're exhausted. And so you have to find other ways to plug in, make sure that you have God there and make sure that you're using God in that time frame and make sure that you guys are still praying together. And of course, you're going to, want to instill all of that even in the newborn stage of your child through prayer and through songs and through books and just little things like that. But I think, the cycle that you explained, just receiving the joy that comes out of the child. And not to say that the mom doesn't get it either, but we're just going through such a transformation in ourselves that we get it, but we're also feeling this other thing. We get it, but we're also feeling this other thing. And so using that cycle, I think, is very helpful for us to see like, okay, people are getting fed.
Right.
We're doing this together.
Everybody's getting it together, right?
We're all doing this together. And again, these moments, what do the women say that I'm always like rolling my eyes over? The days are long, but the years fly by. Oh, I can't stand when people say that. Please, if you say that to me, I'm just know I'm trying to leave your presence as fast as possible. As much as I hate to hear it, it is true. Because lo and behold, Kyle, here we are doing this Love by Faith podcast, and we have 3 children. And our last child is pretty much potty trained. Like, we're completely done with diapers.
Oh my gosh.
We're completely done with the crib. We're completely done with all of the routine visits. Like, now our pediatrician visits are only once a year. Kids are about to go to school. All of them are going to some form of school.
These years have just flown by.
They just fly by. The days are long, but the years fly by. Yeah. And it's true, and what do you get at the end of that? The Bible tells us that man and women are to leave and cleave.
Okay.
And eventually these kids are going to leave.
See, I was thinking about the scripture about the children are like the arrows in the quiver.
It's true.
And how they're, I guess it ties together. Keep going with your leave and cleave.
The kids are going to leave at some point. And so if you pour everything that you guys have into just raising the children and not raising your relationship, you're going to be left with nothing. Because the kids are going to leave at some point. And these years are, yes, they're very fast paced. Because so much happens.
About the craftsman who makes the arrow. Like, arrows are so
crazy.
Like precise. Like the precision weapons. And they have to be perfectly sharp.
Yeah.
Perfectly straight. Yeah. Feathers have to be perfectly balanced on the back.
That's good.
And all these different things, how the husband treats the wife. How the wife and husband treat the kid as they grow up. How where they expose the kid to the world,
Mhm.
all of that goes into shaping that arrow so that when they do leave and cleave, that arrow can
Go straight
fly straight
and hit the target and not
follow the
miss the
Lord.
mark.
Right. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's a great that arrows in the quiver is such a great scripture to represent.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that get the arrows as that represents their kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trendy Christian tattoo.
Yeah. It's better than the butterfly in the back. And on that note, we are going to head out. Thank you guys for listening and watching. If you guys have newborns in your home, we just want to say, hey, it's crazy. It's also beautiful.
Right.
Work together. Don't just think that your person is going to help you in the way that you want to be helped. Let them find out what works for them and what strengths they can pour into so that you guys can help in a way that helps each other. Always remember that moms, it's tough. I get it. We all get it. You are a new creation, and it's going to take some time and some seasons to discover that. Discover who that new woman is that you are, that is full of strength and persistence and resiliency. Dads, keep watching your sports.
No. Okay. I think that for dads, the community is huge, right?
Yes.
Who you surround yourself with, having people to lean into to get support and to just shoot the breeze with, because when that newborn is there, you don't have anybody to just chat with, you know? Even if you're trying to chat with your wife, it's only got 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
And so making the most out of that 10 minutes with your wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then having your outlets to relax and recharge, even if they're short, even if you only get to watch a couple innings or the highlights or,
Mm-hmm.
those kind of things to help you recharge and get back to being able to serve the two people whose just lives have just been dramatically changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not about the minutes, it's about the moments. If you only have to you like all my phrases I'm busting out with?
Keep going.
It's not about the minutes, it's about the moments, right? So if you don't have time to do that prayer hour that you guys are so used to doing, if you don't have time to do the Bible journaling and time away, if you don't have time to, go deep into worship and go in your prayer closet for hours on end anymore because of this child,
right,
and because of your health, it's not about that. It's about moments. Calling out to Jesus, having the small prayer, praying together, having your husband pray over you, etc. All of those things can and still work just as powerfully as any of the other things that you did before you were in this season.
I remember going on a ton of walks with you. Now that I
walking the babies,
we would just throw on the stroller and go for a walk, man.
Yeah.
Those were great times to connect.
Yeah, you find ways. You find ways. And with every child that you have, if you plan to have more than one,